This is the Business Storytelling Show, a top global marketing podcast listened to in more than 100 countries, live streamed on social media, and broadcast on DBTV. Christoph Trappe chats with industry leaders to help your company tell better business stories. Here's today's episode.
Hey, business storytellers. How's everyone doing? Thanks for joining me. Another episode this week, another live stream. We're going to talk about trademarks, copyrights, patents. When do we need them? When do we have to think about them? What's important to know? Before we get there, however, I want to share this wonderful review quickly. Mango 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, something like that. I've learned so much from the business storytelling podcast. It provides an incredible wealth of information that I'm actively applying in my business. Always great to see those reviews. If you want to leave a review, head on over to Apple. You can leave a star review on Spotify, Amazon Music. I think that might be it. Podchaser might be another one. It kind of changes. But on to today's topic. Let's talk about trademarks. When do we need them? When do we not need them? What do we have to think about? Specifically, we'll talk about the e-commerce space, but certainly it's good to know for everyone what to do here. Anita Mar, she is the CEO of the Trademark Trademark Angel. We'll throw up the URL in the bottom here, trademarkangel.com. And Anita, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hello, Christoph. Thank you very much.
Nice to see you. You are in Belgium today. You told me earlier, I grew up in Germany. The other day, we had a guest who was on the border of Belgium and the Netherlands, on the Netherlands side. So we're moving up and down whatever that section of Europe is called. Really appreciate you coming on the show. Now, tell me, first of all, tell me a little bit about your company, the Trademark Angel. What got you interested in doing that kind of work and pursuing that full time?
Oh, that was an accident, really. I didn't plan to go into trademarks, but that was an accident. I found a job in a newspaper a long time ago that an American attorney was looking for a trademark paralegal, and I applied. And that was back in '99. And ever since then, I've been in trademarks. But specifically, a Trademark Angel turned 7 in May, and we are mainly working with the e-commerce sellers, Amazon sellers, to help them register their trademarks. That's what we specialize in. But we work with other business owners, of course, not just e-commerce sellers.
It's always interesting to me. Amazon certainly has been a blessing in disguise to me. You can see 1,200 videos of mine on Amazon reviewing everything from pants to socks to podcast mics, which is probably a little bit more on brand, to be honest. So let's talk about, first of all, what is the difference? So you have a trademark, you have a patent, you have a copyright. I guess I probably care most about copyright, but you tell me, what's the high level summary of those three things?
Yeah, so first of all, what unites them all is that they're all types of intellectual property. A trademark is a brand for your products or services. So it's an identifier. It's how your customers find you. They just need to memorize the name of your product or the name of your service. Patent protects an invention or an improvement to an existing invention. Nowadays, most patents are improvements to existing inventions. And copyright protects original literary or artistic works like songs, music, plays, books, photographs. And copyright protection is also relevant for Amazon very much. So those are all three main types of intellectual property. They are all important, but they're quite different because they protect different parts of your IP portfolio.
You know, what I always find interesting is to even figure out what you need and what you don't need. At one point, an attorney told me I was trying this new thing on this new branding, and he says, you don't even have to do anything. You can just use it, and you're the first person to use it. So kind of talk about that. What's the advantage to filing for something, or maybe that's for the trademark, I don't know, versus just doing it? What can happen if you don't file for those official things?
Yeah, so when you register a trademark, it gives you a lot of benefits. Of course, you can just use it. Especially if you're a small business, if you're a local hairdressing salon or bakery. Very often, it's not really necessary to trademark, but if you plan to go globally or at least nationally, it's important to trademark. Uh, a trademark, in short, I think the biggest benefit is that it makes it easier to enforce your rights. You don't need to prove them to the other side. So if you see that somebody is using a similar trademark or a similar brand name, it's usually enough to send a cease and desist letter and say that you have a registered trademark and here it is, and you ask them to stop using a similar trademark. Um, if you're an Amazon seller, it's easier to remove hijackers. Well, actually, I would say it's probably the only sure way to remove hijackers with the registered trademark. So it's a must if you sell on Amazon. If you plan to franchise, you do need a trademark for sure. If you plan to license, it's also a good idea to have it. Another benefit that many people don't really think about, but if you think about how you do the trademark registration process, you submit a trademark and it appears in the official database. So in the US, it's a USPTO database. In Canada, it's a SIPO database. So when other people are looking for a trademark to adopt, so let's say they are trying to come up with a name, they check that database. So if they see your trademark, they will stay away from adopting a similar name. So you don't need to do any work. I mean, the trademarks office database will actually protect you because your trademark will appear there. And then if somebody decides to file a similar trademark, the trademarks office will refuse registration of this trademark because it will be similar to your trademark, which is already in the database. So those are the benefits. I mean, there are many more benefits. Like, for example, when you sell your business, a registered trademark increases the value of your assets. So you will definitely get more money for your business. And the older your trademark, the more valuable it becomes. Think about Coca-Cola brand, like how much is it worth? Well, a lot, right? So those are the benefits. I mean, I think it's really important because when you have already done the registration, you don't need to prove that your trademark is valid, that it's distinctive, that it's owned by you. It's been checked by the trademarks office and verified, and all you need to do is show a registered trademark number in the database, like if somebody's infringing on your trademark. So those are the main benefits. There are many more, obviously.
Yep. Very interesting. I mean, I've been on that website before. It's not the most easiest website to search for in the US, at least. You know,
Mm-hmm,
what the biggest question I had is it seems to me when I order things on Amazon, they come from all kinds of different places, right? I mean, a lot of times from China, I guess,
mm-hmm.
sometimes from the US. I mean, I don't know if I can even tell if anything ever comes from Europe, but how do you decide where to file for your trademark? So, like, if you ship out of China,
Mm-hmm.
into the US, do you have to register in the US or how does that work?
Well, usually it's a good idea to trademark where you do your business, so where you sell your products. So it depends on your business plan. So you should look like where the orders are coming from. But talking about China, if you ship from China to the US or any other country, it's important to protect your trademark in China in this case, because if somebody else files for your trademark, you may be stopped from exporting your products.
Which that certainly would be a mess. And then how do you, I mean, kind of walk me through how you work with clients and how do you help them? I mean, certainly, um, I mean, I can go on there, I can search,
Hmm.
right? But
Hmm.
I can search the US. I wouldn't even know where to search in Europe, or I don't know if that's by country or how it would work. So like what parts, how do you make it easier? I mean, you just take over the whole process. You have like a checklist. How does that work? What's the advantage of working with somebody or
Yeah.
like doing a DIY?
Yeah, of course. Well, of course, we have checklists. I mean, first of all, I always ask a client, like, why do you need a trademark? I mean, most of our clients need a trademark because Amazon told them to do so, and that's a bit sad. It kind of devalues the whole idea of registering a trademark. But still, I ask them why you need a trademark. Tell me, like, what you sell. Tell me about your business. Tell me about your clients. Where do you ship your products? So, like, if it's services, like, is it like a global business? Do you have a website? So we try to determine where the clients are located, because once we know where they're located, we know where to file a trademark. I mean, usually clients need a trademark in the US, um, Canada, European Union, UK, China, Australia. So those are the main countries where we file. And if our client sells on Amazon.com, so then they need a US trademark for sure. So that's how we determine. But we we like to keep it simple, because very often clients come with huge plans and they want to file in many countries and sell many products, and they think it's easy and cheap. But it's not. It will be expensive and it will take a long time. So we like to keep it simple. File in the main country of interest, and then if the business goes well, we can always file more trademarks. But they're jurisdictional, so we have to file in countries of interest separately.
Yeah, just very interesting. When so Amazon tells people to do it. So you cannot sell on Amazon without a trademark, then?
Oh, no, they don't tell you. They don't really tell you, but you need to apply for the brand registry in order to even create your listings now. And in order to apply for the brand registry, to get in the brand registry, you need to file your trademark. So you need to start the official registration process. So you don't actually need to register the trademark, but you need to do the first step. You need to submit a trademark application for filing. And once you have the serial number, then you can apply for the brand registry on Amazon, and your brand will be in that brand registry. And then you can create your listings, and your listings will have the same brand name, and then you can start selling. So nowadays, we find that many clients struggle to even create listings if they haven't filed their trademark. Sometimes they can create a generic listing, but very often they can't create anything until they have submitted their trademark application and applied for the brand registry.
Interesting. What aside from Amazon, like so like let's pick on me. You kind of know, like we've been talking for a while. Like, what is something I need to file a trademark for or should think about? So, right, I got my blog, which is just my name anymore. It used to be theauthenticstorytelling.net. I kind of put that aside and just have it on christophtrappe.com, Christoph's Content Corner, I guess. I got the podcast. I got a few books. Like, where do I fit into your ecosystem, or do I? Or is it really just for products on Amazon?
Do you have a logo?
Do I have
Because
a what? A book?
yeah, a logo. I looked at your website. I didn't really see a logo. So I see Christoph's Content
No.
Corner.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't I don't really have a logo, but I probably should have one. But I should trademark that if I have one.
well, yes, it's a good idea. I mean, people know you by your name. Um, so you can trademark your name if you want. So if you and you can file for like educational entertainment services, which is a podcast, Class 41. I think it's a good idea, especially if you have a logo, but I just don't see a logo on your website. Yeah, I looked at it, but I
Yeah,
see you
yeah, I
just
don't have a logo. Okay, well, let's play that through for a second here. So, like trademarking Christoph Trappe. Why?
say it again.
Trademarking my name. Why would I do that? That's super interesting. But like, what's the like? Walk
Well,
me
you
through
will
the purpose
only
of doing
yeah. So you will only need to trademark the name if that's the name of your podcast.
it.
So
Okay,
that, but yeah, I mean, you don't, in this particular case, it's unlikely that somebody will create a podcast with the same name unless that person has the same name. And if they do have the same name, you can't really stop them. So that's why I asked you if you have a logo, because if you have a logo, so that can be your unique identifier,
got
what
it.
makes you different from others. But yeah, you can always use your name. No one can tell you not to use the name. So usually people, people still trademark their names, especially if it's like a famous artist. They still do
Yeah.
that just to make sure there are no knockoffs or like people who try to copy them. So maybe it's a good idea, because like once the podcast is really big, I mean, there may be some competitors who may decide that we're going to do something similar and call it the same name just to confuse people.
Right. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. And then it's easier to kind of go after them. Let's talk about a little bit I don't know if return on investment is the right wording, but sometimes I mean there is so many people selling on
Hmm.
Amazon, right? I mean a
Hmm.
gazillion people on there, and at what point I don't even know how much it cost. Like, what's the whole cost of like the whole process of filing? Like, is it hundreds of dollars, thousands, tens of thousands, or like what's the cost? And then at what point should people do that? And I know I had a lawyer on the
Yeah.
show, and I said, when should you get a lawyer as a business? And he says, well, early on. I agree, but at some point, like you have to make enough revenue, right, to
Yeah.
justify the expenses.
Yeah, I would say you need to budget about $1,000 per trademark. So for each country, for each trademark, that's the minimum. Um, from 1,000, 2,000 maximum. Well, not maximum, but $1,000-$2,000. I mean, I wouldn't say it's an investment. I would rather call it insurance. And I like to compare trademark registration to house insurance, because registering your trademark is the cheapest protection you can get for your brand. You can, like, would you be upset if your house didn't burn down? Of course you wouldn't, right? If you bought house insurance. Would you be upset if your registered trademark was not infringed? Of course not. I mean, you would probably just, you wouldn't even notice that. But on the other hand, would you be upset if your house burned down and you didn't get fire insurance? Yes, it would be. And the same with the trademark. Like, would you be upset if somebody started using your unregistered trademark and it would be extremely difficult and expensive for you to stop those people? Yes, I think so. I think so. That's how I like to compare it to house insurance rather than, well, it can be investment, right? Because it will pay off eventually, especially when you sell your company.
Yeah, I do like the example of home insurance, really, right? Because I mean, you only think about it when you pay it, right?
Yeah,
And of course, actually in the U.S. here, in Iowa at least, you don't, like, it just automatically comes through the house payment anyways. So like you barely see it or know how much it is. Um, and then if you need it, it's good to have.
exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
so let's kind of pick on a product. So like make up a product, I guess. But like what
Mhm.
pieces of a product have to be different? Or like, so if I have a new product, how do I know what can be trademarked in this new offering? Or how do I even know if it's a new offering? I mean, you mentioned earlier some things are just enhancements, I guess.
Oh no, you're talking about patents. A trademark is really a
Oh,
name of a product. So it's how your customers find you, find your product. You're not
got it.
protecting the actual product, you're protecting the name. So the source of that product, how your customers find you, how they, so let's say when they go shopping, how they pick your product. They remember the brand, I mean the logo or the trademark name. So that's what a trademark is. So you can trademark anything really. It can be like a physical product that you can touch, like vitamins, stationery, food, or you can trademark services, like your podcast is a service, trademark registration service is also a service, accounting services, um, legal services, um, anything really. Anything can be trademarked as long as it's a product or a service. You just need to give it a cool name and or create a logo.
Got it. So that's a good clarification, or like, I mean, I guess I kind of knew that, but forgot about that for a second. So trademark is the name, the logo, those kind of things. So then, let's say you have an updated product. So at what point do you have to also do a patent? If you're offering something on Amazon, or is that typically not needed?
You only need a patent if you have actually created something really new or if you improved something that existed before. Usually it's not applicable, but what like every seller should be mindful of is making sure they're not infringing on any other patents that may exist, especially if they sell something useful. So I don't know, like a hook or like a door stopper. So that may be somebody's patent, and you may sell that without even realizing that you're infringing on somebody's patent.
So let's say somebody has a trademark on a name that somebody wants to use on their podcast or whatever. Uh, like, how do they even enforce it? I mean, I'm just thinking about, when you go to court and you sue somebody, they owe you money. And then you have like a ruling, like, yeah, they have to pay the money. But that doesn't mean they're going to even pay the money. You still have to collect it somehow, right? So that's a whole nother process. So let's say, you have a case for trademark infringement or whatever it might be called. What's the enforcement mechanism? You send a nasty letter and then hope they do it. Is that it, or what are the steps?
Yeah, usually it comes to the question is like, do you have enough money to take it all the way? And the answer is usually no. So what usually happens is if you have a registered trademark and you see that somebody is using a similar name, well, that belongs to you, that's similar to your name, you do send a nasty cease and desist letter and you threaten with litigation. You ask them to rebrand. Uh, and the thing is, the other side doesn't know if you're bluffing or not. If you're not bluffing, it can be really expensive for the other party, especially if they have money. So no one wants to check that. So I would say in more than 90% of cases, a cease and desist letter that's properly written and with reminders sent, with phone calls sent. So that usually works. So we don't need to do anything else. Like if it doesn't work, then you should be prepared to actually go to court and sue. Yeah, unfortunately, there is no other way, but it doesn't happen very often, I would say.
It's super interesting. I mean, even like for me, like, I mean, you're in Belgium. I grew up in Europe, certainly, but and now I'm in Iowa, and I talk to very few people that are in Iowa on the show, right? I mean, they're all over in
I'm
the
from
US, they're
Canada.
all over the
I'm
world.
just on vacation in Belgium. I don't live there.
You're just on vacation. I guess I didn't
Yeah.
actually know that. But so let's say, like, where's the legal venue for these things, right? So like the point I was trying to make, that not to keep picking on Belgium, but or being jealous of your vacation, but like, so if somebody in Belgium has a trademark on my thing that I'm doing in the US, or somebody in the US has mine and they're in wherever, I don't know, California, and I'm in Iowa, like, where is the venue to that even has jurisdiction?
Oh, but here there may be no problem because trademarks are jurisdictional. Remember I told you? So if somebody has a trademark in Belgium and you have your trademark in the US, there is no problem. So there is only a problem if somebody is trying to sell similar products under a similar trademark in the US. If we are talking about you who are in the US with the registered trademark in the US. But if somebody is in another country, they have a similar trademark and you don't have a trademark, then you don't have trademark rights in that country. So you can't do anything.
So, but let's say in the US, I'm in Iowa, somebody's in California. Where's the venue for that dispute if it goes
Oh,
beyond?
that it goes to trademark litigation. I would rather not go into details. So it depends. It depends on like what type of business you have and if it's a online business or not. So it's we don't really do trademark litigation. We mostly do trademark registration because it's a completely different area. So if somebody wants to sue somebody, we usually just refer them to a litigation attorney. Because
Got it.
that's completely, yeah, you need to determine like which court to go to, which court is applicable, like which state, like if can you even sue somebody if it's like if that person is not in the US. I mean, can you do anything if he's like, I don't know, in China or Ukraine? Maybe
Right.
not.
Sometimes not
So
even in the
yeah,
US.
but still, I mean, if you do have a registered trademark and you know how to contact the other party, usually it's enough to send a cease and desist letter, especially if
Yeah.
you know how to reach them. Usually, I mean, it's very, very unusual when the other party doesn't cooperate and doesn't do anything at all, just ignores
Yeah.
it. It's very unusual. Usually they either rebrand without telling you anything, or they say, okay, sorry, we didn't know. I mean, people
Got
don't
it.
want to get sued. I mean, they don't want any problems. The majority of people will actually want to settle. They want some sort of coexistence settlement. They don't want any problems, but because they don't know if you're bluffing or not. That's the thing.
Right.
You may
Right.
be bluffing, but they don't know this.
Maybe they didn't even know. So maybe that was just like, now they
Well,
know and they're
exactly.
taking care of
Yeah.
it. Anita, people can contact you, trademarkangel.com. Really appreciate you coming on the show. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. And we're out.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Please rate and review the Business Storytelling Show on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe so you don't miss